Hi, this is Matt from Crank Engineering, and we're back with another video in the hand tool series, and today we're going to talk about pliers. So what are pliers used for? Well, they're really used for holding something either irregular shaped or maybe small with more force than you can apply with your fingers while you're performing some other operation, whether you're shaping or bending some metal or twisting wires or cutting wire or metal parts, or maybe doing some electrical work. So I'm just going to show you the most common pliers you might come across in your toolbox and some of their features and what you might use them for. So we'll start with the slip joint pliers. Not all that common, I guess, but I bought these as part of a set of Stanley pliers a number of years ago. You can see the tips are all ground down when I use these to hold parts when I'm hitting them with a bench grinder, so they're a little bit damaged, but they're doing a good job. So the general idea here is this: remember your high school science class, this is just a lever, right? So this long distance here, if that's say 4 times as long as this distance here, well 10 kilos here is going to give you 40 kilos of force here. So that's the general idea. So these guys have got long handles, so you've got a lot of gripping force in the jaws. Obviously the idea of the slip joint is to let you adjust the opening of the pliers and grip different sized objects. So I can grip something small and flat, or maybe I open it up to the first notch and I can grip something this sort of shape, a circular object, that sort of shape. Or if I open it up all the way, maybe the second last one, I might be able to grip something really large, like that. So very handy tool. Sometimes it's the only tool that'll do the job for you if you've got one. So yeah, if you've got them in your toolkit, that's what you might be able to use them for. Okay, one of the other most useful tools I find in my toolbox is diagonal cutting pliers. So these have just got basically a blade in them, and as you can see from the angle, they're not parallel all the way to the end. They are tapered, and that lets you get in nice and close on a flat surface like this, so you can get in and get right down on an object. Maybe you want to trim off an electrical connector, so rather than doing it on this face, you do it here and you can get right up underneath the connector and chop it off. So that's the idea of the angles, let you get right in there. I mean, they are used for cutting all sorts of things. Here's a bit of coat hanger wire, and it'll quite happily chop parts off that as well. And if much lighter gauges like some welding wire, a piece of cake for this sort of thing. So yeah, diagonal cutting pliers, really handy. These ones have got a serrated surface in the back here. I really never used that at all. You can use that for gripping something that you want to hold with these pliers, but I've never used these pliers for that job. One of the most other useful pairs of pliers in my toolbox is just standard combination pliers. These are quite a small pair. I know they're, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 inches long. Electricians use these quite a lot, and you can get them much larger than this, but this again came with a set of Stanley pliers I bought years and years ago. And these got quite a few different features. So there's a serrated jaw at the end here, which is used obviously for gripping objects. I'm not welding wire that small, but something a bit larger, maybe like the coat hanger, or a small bolt head or something like that. But obviously, the jaws aren't parallel, so you're somewhat limited, trying to hold a bolt or a nut with those. So you have general gripping of small parts, a bit of sheet metal or whatever it might be. These have also got a cutting jaw on them in this area here, so you can quite happily put a coat hanger in there as well and chop those off, or anything smaller. Just really depends on how much grip you've got and how hard you can squeeze it. Obviously the higher quality pliers will have better quality steel, so if you try and cut something too hard in here on a cheaper pair of pliers, you'll obviously damage the jaws. So these Stanleys are pretty good quality, and they'll quite happily cut coat hangers all day long. So yeah, very handy pair of pliers. Again, these have got a serrated surface in the back here. Again, I've never used them in that way, but that's for gripping as well in the back. Some of them also got a little shear in here, which you might be able to use to shear off small bolts as well. So this is some of the higher feature ones, maybe ones that electricians are using, but these are great for working on motorcycles and cars. Okay, a couple of other ones that we might see. If you work on motorcycles or cars and you've got to pull, bearings out of housings or shafts apart, sometimes you'll come across internal and external lock rings like this, or circlips, or whatever you want to call them. And to get them out, you need pliers to do that, a certain pair of pliers to do that. I started off with these guys, which is a set of pliers where you can remove the jaws. So push that pin down and take that out, and then you can take these jaws off and replace it with other jaws. So it acts as an internal and an external pair of circlip pliers. These aren't particularly cheap. These are King Chrome ones here in Australia, so they're reasonably good quality. But I've never found these to work very well, so I really had to go and bite the bullet, and I don't use those anymore. And I went and bought a proper set of circlip pliers. There's about 5, I think, in the set of these. These are quite short, so about 7 inches long. If you're working on bigger equipment, say earth moving equipment, you'd have much larger circlip pliers. But the idea is here, you fit these into the holes in the circlip and squeeze, and you can open the circlip up and remove it from the housing. Or if you are really careless, you can send it flying across the room. Same with the internal ones. In there, give it a squeeze, and you can usually remove it from the housing. There's lots of other pliers you might use for electrical work. We won't talk about those in this particular video. We'll cover those in a video about electrical work. So that's it for pliers. Short video. Hopefully that's useful. And any questions or comments, just put them through on the comments under the video. Cheers.